and I will offer a quick overview of how to access the recording of our call today. So I will go ahead and share my screen. Wonderful. Here we go. So you should be seeing my screen right over here. So to locate the recording of our call today, please head to www.drsuemorter.com in your browser. You're going to go ahead and click on the member login, and you're going to go ahead and log in with your email address and then your password. I'm going to click login. And then from here, it might automatically pop up the My Coursework / Events tab, but you will want to go to the My Free Content, which should be right on the top. So once you click into the My Free Content, you're going to scroll down to the B.E.S.T Practitioner Training Informational Call. Once you go ahead and click in, it will open up and like this welcome page. Scroll to the bottom, and then you will find that today's replay, October 23rd, 2023, will be posted within 48 hours. So I will go ahead and stop my share. So if you have any questions, as always, please feel free to chat us in the chat box. And as always, as a valued member of our community, we want you to be in control of the emails that you are receiving from us. And so every email has an option at the bottom to manage your subscription. We're deeply appreciative of your presence, and we're thrilled to support you on your journey. You can choose to receive emails about all the great content from Dr. Sue, or you can simply choose to receive emails regarding your account, enrolled courses, receive the newsletter, and manage the option to receive partner promotions. So with that being said, everyone, have a wonderful call. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. And now we are ready to welcome on Dr. Sue. Dr. Sue, welcome.
Hey, hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to go onto my gallery view so I can get a glimpse of some of your shining faces while we're here together. And then I can scroll around and kind of, share the love. Okay, so welcome, welcome. Some of you I know are very familiar with B.E.S.T and very familiar with the broadcasts that we are doing. And some of you are plugging in with us new. We have many, many more people than are able to be here live on this call, registered for the call. So we know we'll be reaching many, many more people than just this gathering here today, which I'm thrilled about for the world of bioenergetics and service to humanity. So I'm scrolling back the other way now. So rolling again, just, scrolling for the love. Wonderful to see you. Excellent. So I always love to connect with the folks that are here in the groups that we're gathering for the various topics that we teach at Morter Institute. And it is always a joy to see where you are all joining us from. It's been amazing. I've been sitting here and watching the chat just a little bit while Mackenzie was going over her details. And it's really wonderful, truly wonderful to see you from around the world. So blessings to you all, and thank you for showing up. It is definitely an important time in our world that we be caring about one another, and that we know how to reach out and help to manage the stresses that people are undergoing, and really not knowing how to manage on the level that they are occurring in people's lives. And so this is perfect timing for this program to be coming forward in December. And I want to thank you for your role in wanting to serve others again. So I'd like to take just a moment that we all kind of settle in together here as a collective, because when we come together, no matter large or small in our gatherings, we are capable of managing a greater energy together than when we're simply just focusing on something on our own. And so I'd like for you to just tap into the energy of serving and the energy of caring about other people, about human beings. There is so very much happening in our world today, right now, that if we are together and can drop into these frequencies of love and deeper wisdom and understanding that truly the only reconciliation, the only connection, the only modulation of any type of situation happens with communion, communication, and collaboration. It happens with leaning in instead of holding back, or speaking to another instead of speaking directly to the source of any conflict that we're experiencing. And we know how important it is that we learn how to open ourselves to love and to wisdom instead of allowing the mind to take over. Because when it does, we end up in situations such as what we're experiencing in the Middle East right now, and as we have been experiencing in many outbursts over recent months and years, as well as the longevity of human history. You know, we are trying as a species to evolve to something that understands the both and understands that two people, two parties can have different beliefs and different understandings about what is whole, but ultimately the respect of human life and the respect of everyone's process is truly what is at hand here for us to evolve into in terms of considerations when we are deciding actions that we will take, even words that we will say, even thoughts that we will think. And so if we can just hold a space for a moment here in some silence and drop into a sense of peace within and a sense of willingness to do our part in holding that space for everyone in need right now. When we settle our minds into our heart space and into our deep wisdom centers within our core, something greater rises up than an idea of competition or comparison, an idea of judging someone else about how they are or who they are. Something greater rises up. And that is exactly why we've gathered here this evening. And so thank you for allowing just a simple moment for those energies to coalesce and to unify and to generate a field that is coherent. And it will continue to happen during our call because this call is completely based on coherence. It's completely based on an idea about how we can activate that coherence in other people. Because when that harmonization inside of any system happens, healing happens as a byproduct of that. Everything that I teach in Morter Institute is about harmonizing mind, body, breath, spirit, and soulful expression in the world, allowing for a better human to rise and to express because it's not interfering with the grand design, the way things are supposed to be flowing. And so in the world of bioenergetics, we have a couple of options in front of us when we begin talking about what science is discovering and what we now know and understand about the human system, and including its physiology and its psychology and its spirituality and how those things are interwoven and interconnected. And we have options in front of us when we take that information and want to do something productive with it. Because every year science comes up with more that is more fascinating about the fact that we control our environment, that we truly are creating it, that we are literally determining our experience within that environment. And so we have the ability to influence our own DNA and how it expresses in the world. And so we are no longer really held by our genetic inheritance in some way that creates a destiny for us that we will have the same conditions that our familial lineage has contained. We now know on an intellectual level that that isn't the truth, that we were misperceiving what the control system was, what the manager inside of our health orientation is. We recognize that it's not the nucleus of the cell, it's the surface of the cell and the little antennas on the surface of the cell that pick up on information, that pick up on energy waves, and then tell the cell what to do, including which telomeres on the DNA molecule to turn on and which ones to suppress because of need from the environment. And we've recognized that we create our environment by the thoughts that we think and the beliefs that we carry and the conclusions that we've drawn along the way in our lives and are then living through that filter. And it has, beyond the shadow of a doubt, been proven that we have an effect on the very material world that is gathering around us. That when we expect to see something, that is what we find. We even actually create it because we're looking for it. Now, this is what quantum science is bringing us. And we understand that when we are allowing for something greater than our beliefs to have an important and significant role in our lives, something more magnificent unfolds. And with all of this science and research that has come together for our humanity at this time, I feel that the best use of that information is to really understand how it applies inside the human life, inside the choices that we're making moment by moment, inside the influences that gather the filtering system that we've collected over time and are living really confined by. And we are at choice to take a look at what are the vibrational frequencies that generate the greatest amount of coherence in the living system in the shortest amount of time and can remain so for the most consistent and unwavering order of time. And so when we are at this choice point about how we are operating with science and the revealing of the bioenergetics of the human system and how energy flows through this system and how if energy gets blocked, we get sick. And if we can unblock the energy, healing happens as a byproduct of that. And we are at choice to discover why it is that it gets blocked in the first place. And it actually turns out that it's about our mind yet again and our emotional reactions to the thoughts that we think and the beliefs that we hold in place. And so we're at this choice point where we can either look at the human body as a mechanism that if we move this over here and push this right here, it's going to free up that energy and we'll get that person on their way and everything will be fantastic. And we can even input different modalities upon the physical system to rearrange how that energy is flowing, etc., and enhance our ability to heal. And it's very true. And we are blessed to even know that such things exist. And we also have the choice to recognize that on the inside, the person, the being, that presence itself that chose to come here into this life is residing in there and is either tapped into or it's not. We have an option to learn how to no longer be living as the personality that has some spirit self somehow, somewhere that's contributing to hopefully a graceful life in some way. To either live as that personality or to learn how to live as the one on the inside that is the healer within, to animate it as if it is the truth of who we are. And that, of course, is where I love to work with people. Now, the great news is if you don't understand everything I just said, you don't have to in order to do the work that I'm here to tell you about today. And, that's good news. It's like you don't have to understand exactly how electricity works in order to be able to turn on a light switch and have the lights come on and be able to accomplish some amazing things in the middle of the night when we need some light to do so. So all of which I hope speaks to you in some way, because it is time for us to care a little bit more than we have. Now, not that people don't care and not that we've not always been caring, but I mean, it's time for us to deepen our hearts. It's time for us to reach inside of ourselves and find a deeper version of ourselves that also wants to care. One that might not have been aware of the amount of difference we can make for humanity. One that might not have been really thinking about it because life was going along pretty well. And we have, come through quite a lot in the last few years, but all in all, we're kind of getting it together and we're back in motion and things are happening. And so it isn't that we don't care, but it is that there's more of us that can care and there's more to care about. And that is why I feel what's happening on our planet right now is happening. It's an awakening process, and it is rich, and it is powerful, and it is potent, and it is beautiful, and it is atrocious, and it is horrific, and it is all of the things that we never wanted to see. But if we're going to take the responsible action that we could take, we will find ourselves doing something to make a difference in the world in yet another way, in addition to the ways that we always have, whether it's been through taking action locally or sending funds to something or making contributions in some way or being steeped in deep and meaningful prayer or intentionality and the work that we know about the power of intention. All of that is absolutely beautiful. And perhaps the tool that we're going to speak about in the next few moments would be an additional reference, additional resource that you might have in your repertoire to be able to really do something in the now moment to help a person or a group of people, either locally or in distance, in a way. And the doorway that I'm going to open for us in conversation this evening will open those possibilities to you to increase your difference making capacity on the planet. So I was raised in an energy medicine household, even before it was called energy medicine. In fact, when energy and medicine would have never been associated in a conversation. And so I'm thrilled that things have changed in the course of my life, and that we are here able to speak about these things, from the launching pad of a conversation, instead of having to spend 2 or 3 days formulating an understanding for people and building a case for the idea that there is an energy around and throughout the physical body, that if you can learn to move it differently, the physical body will heal in response to that. It's thrilling to me that I can just say, hi, everybody, we're here to talk about bioenergetics, and not only the energy that surrounds your body and runs through your body, but the energy that is you. You are an energy being. That's pretty exciting to just be able to start the conversation like that. So what I witnessed growing up was my father working with people who had surgeries that then failed, that had chronic degenerative diseases, that people were given limited amounts of time to live, or limitations on their life that they could expect forever. I witnessed my father be in a car accident where someone crossed the center line and hit his car and shoved his femur head right through his hip, his pelvis bone. And he was told that he would never walk without a limp, and that, it would always be painful and so forth. And I watched him walk out of the hospital in half of the amount of time that they said he was going to be there, because his doctor partner in his clinic was coming to the hospital and treating him every day with the technique that I'm about to share with you. And I have also witnessed it in my own life. And he doesn't walk with a limp, or he didn't. He's no longer on the planet, but he's not walking with a limp today either. And I have also witnessed and experienced this in my own life. It is the only healthcare that I have ever received. I've never gone to the doctor and gotten an antibiotic in order to heal from some condition that I've, landed in because of something that I was exposed to, et cetera. I know that the body has the ability to heal itself. And the only reason that it isn't is if that energy that we're speaking about isn't circulating and cycling through the system the way that it's supposed to. And we also know the reasons that it doesn't when it doesn't. And all of that is packed inside this technique that I'm sharing a little bit about with you. It is inside of this technique, we're able to determine through the language of the body what the nature of the original short-circuiting was in the system that caused the energy to block and to no longer flow the way that it's supposed to, which then led to a disease condition or an unhealing injury or a recurring tendency and preponderance towards some kind of illness every time the seasons change, or every time you do this one thing, or every time those holidays roll around, you tend to get stressed and it makes you sick, and etc. That there's really no mystery to it any longer. That we completely understand what leads to what leads to what leads to what. And I love the fact that it ultimately lands in the hands of the patient, the client, but But I love the fact that the practitioner can guide them into that understanding and unpack this without even having to know the story of someone's history in order to put the pieces together for them. In fact, you could do this technique on someone. It's a hands-on technique that you learn how to listen to the language of the body, and you give feedback to the individual while you're then also helping to reroute the energy back into its correct pattern. And what I know is that you're able to do this if you speak Portuguese and the other person, speaks German, and you don't speak either. It's something that you can do with anyone that you can be with, either locally, or you can even learn versions of this work where you can work with it non-locally, which we are having tremendous results with people around the world in recent years. But for many years, we've been working with surrogates and distance healing, but we've turned that into just a direct remote option that you can learn working with someone on the other side of the planet, just as if they are right here with you. And you learn to feel and sense the different energies that will guide you through a technique itself. So let me just tell you a little bit about that technique. It's non-forceful. There's no pain involved. A person is, if you're in the room with them working, that's how I'm going to describe it, and that's how I'm going to teach it in December as an introduction to the whole of the work. And a person is laying down, and you are using a series of muscle tests with the legs and the amount of relaxation in the hip joints, the leg length differences, the arm strengths. You'll do arm strength muscle testing and a variety of things along those lines. You're going to be given a flow chart that tells you to do this, and then check for this, and then check for this, and then check for this. And if you find this, then you come over here and it tells you what to do next. Or if you find something different than that, you come down a different column, and it walks you through step by step what to do to allow for blocked energy to begin moving again, and to also be able to give the client patient feedback on how that happened, how that got interrupted, and how it can be restored. And so you're kind of teaching them to fish at the same time that you're providing a meal for them in the meantime, while they're getting reoriented in terms of healing. So when I say healing, I'm talking about healing on every level of their lives. So often in my clinic, I would see someone come in with back pain, only to realize that their headaches that they never spoke about also went away. Also recognizing that we were working on something physical. They would come back into the clinic and say, this shoulder pain is gone, and so is the pain in my neck, in my relationship, kind of changing because of what we're sharing, what you're sharing with me. I'm applying that inside my life, and as it turns out, lots of other things are changing as well. And it has ranged in my life from life-threatening disease conditions, literally people being told they had a limited amount of time left on this planet, and 15 and 20 years later, they're standing and giving testimonials about that, all the way to someone's golf game getting better because they finally synchronized all of the timing and the different segmentations of their body and in their golf swing and everything in between, whether it had to do with being able to manifest more readily, or to be able to communicate more safely, or to be able to heal more readily, digest, sleep, filter, cleanse, you name it. Because when the body's working wrong, when it's disoriented or disconnected, almost nothing works right. And when the system is running the way that it's intended to, everything has an opportunity to improve when we work with the whole person. And so inside of bioenergetic synchronization technique, that's exactly what we're doing. We're learning how to synchronize the various areas of the system that segment once the energy stops flowing the way that it's designed to be flowing. When it stops flowing the way that it's designed to be flowing, different polarizations start to happen in different areas of the body. And when those different polarizations happen, the left hip and the right hip now aren't receiving the same amounts of information or the same quality of energy running through them. And so if you would happen to go for a run that day, for example, You might feel something different in the hip while you're running. A leg length difference might occur. You might feel something different in the hips the next day. You might feel that there's a strain or a sprain that happened, and you also might notice that it doesn't heal the way that it should. And so that's true for the kidneys. It's true for the liver and the kidneys and the colon and all of this. It's true for every aspect of your body. And so what we're doing is identifying how the energies aren't running symmetrically and in a congruent and synchronized sort of way. And we're realigning that. As what we know is that the body is always responding to either the present time need, what's actually happening, or it's responding to something that's been stored in memory, and that memory pattern is running the body. And if that memory pattern is running the body doesn't heal the way it could, and it's using energies today that might not even be necessary. It might be responding to something that you were doing 10 years ago, and you had a huge impact in your life at the same time. Let me give you an example. You might have been on your way home from work. You got laid off from work. You're on your way home. You get home. You're on your way home. You get rear-ended. You get home after being rear-ended and having a little stiffness in your neck because of this automobile accident and the upset that was happening at work, I guarantee you is contributing to the muscle spasm that was already there before you even got hit. You come in the house, your wife says, or your husband says, you know, I've been meaning to talk to you about something. I think, you know, we have to end this relationship. Things just aren't working for me, etc. So boom, boom, boom. These things are occurring and they get stored in memory all at the same time. The upset from the work, the impact from the accident, more emotional impact as soon as we get home, or even just a couple of those things, maybe not all 3 or 4 or 5 that are happening in someone's life at the same time. And that all gets stored together as a little package together and stored in subconscious memory. And if the subconscious memory, who is in charge of healing in your body as well, is never updated to the fact that that was 10 years ago. And that pattern of defense physiology, the protectivism that you're running on, is not serving you anymore. It isn't necessary. But if we got locked in that pattern and a communication system got shut down, we're now running in that pattern day after day after day after day. And the body begins to exhaust. It doesn't heal because the energies are being spent on the upset and the emergency and the more upset caked on top of that. So there's no energy left over for healing. So that system and the stiff neck and the back pain that came from those moments that day are unwaveringly and relentlessly still present. And the reason they're still present is because the subconscious, again, whose job it is to heal you, is to heal the body and keep it preserved for and sustained for a long, a lifetime. It's not able to do that because the resources just aren't there. They're there, they're just being wasted on something that actually has been over for 10 years. I can't tell you the numbers of times that a patient would lay down in my clinic on the treatment table, and I would start to unveil these patterns only to recognize that exactly what I've just described to you has happened. Something that occurred long ago is still having a dramatic impact on their system, and it's keeping them from healing. It's keeping them from becoming the truth of who they are. It's keeping them from living into their full potential on every level in their lives. I guarantee you, you're not as genius as you could be if your body's still locked in some protective pattern from years ago. You're not able to find the resources to stay young and vital and self-healing and self-regulating the way that your body's intended to if it's locked up and spending an unnecessary energy on things that aren't even relevant today. But that's the way the system is designed to operate. It's designed to operate based on what it perceives to be the most life-threatening thing happening right now. And if this little trap door slams shut and the last message that got through between the conscious mind and the subconscious healing component of us, if that door is slammed shut and the last message that got through was, you're fired, bang, and I'm leaving you, that body doesn't stand a chance to ever get into its true alignment, no matter how much on the conscious mind level. And get this, this is where it really gets juicy. No matter how much therapy the person has gone to try to forgive their boss, or to forgive their partner, or to get their life together and start moving forward again, if that trap door between the conscious and the subconscious is still slammed shut, they can do all the work you could imagine on a conscious level and feel like, I've really dealt with that stuff. I really feel like I'm plugged in. I got this. However, their body's still not healing. And so what we're able to do with bioenergetic synchronization work is this. We open the trapdoor. We get the trapdoor open so that the conscious and the subconscious can start updating and start recognizing, oh my gosh, that accident was actually 10 years ago. Okay, let's shut down this. Let's start doing this. Let's kick this back in because it's been shut down for 10 years, etc. And the body starts realigning, and it starts doing what it was built to do in the first place. So we're built to be able to do this on ourselves, for ourselves, automatically, for it to be happening. But we've been living culturally so disconnected from our ability to do that, that this work of bioenergetics is immensely powerful in shape-shifting someone's orientation inside of themselves and their own ability to self-heal. And so I'm thrilled to introduce these concepts to you this evening, and or daytime, wherever it is for you on the planet. And to answer some questions that you might have about it. I want to share just a few of the details about the program that we are going to be working with. It is, we're going to have periods in a big room together, and I'm going to show you the principles and then the technique, teach you the technique, how to do this and how to do this and how to do this, just as a section of it. And then we're going to break out into small breakout rooms where you're going to have a teaching assistant there to help you implement and demonstrate that you understand what we've just talked about, and to show and get feedback and have your questions answered and so forth, have demonstrations of how to do it over and over and over again all day long. Okay, that's going to happen. As soon as you come out of those little pod groups, we go back into the big room and I teach you a little bit more, and make sure that you're able to do that. Then we break out into those little breakout sessions again. You get to practice, get feedback on how you're doing, and share your ideas or share your blockages or your concerns, etc., and get those things addressed. Okay. Now, something in some of those sessions throughout the program are going to be breakout sessions, not breakout, but in the breakout sessions, they're going to be check-off sessions where we're literally going to give you the feedback of, yep, you've got this. You nailed it. You got it that time. So then we check you off in this process if you want to be certified in the work. Now, you can take the work and not even have the intention of being, officially certified in it, but you do have to go through the whole program for the weekend. And so if you decide at first you don't want to be certified and then you do want to be certified, that's fine. However, we highly recommend that you let us know ahead of time what your intention is for that weekend, because we have to gather enough of the teaching assistants to cover the immense amount of people that are coming in to do this. And we want to do that efficiently and effectively for you. Okay. So you will need another person if you're going to get checked off and be certified, not for the whole session, but we'll tell you what time we're going to be going into those breakout sessions. And so you can have the person be there at the end of the day when we're doing that checkoff process. Okay. So just to let you know that that's part of the certification process, that you would have time to be able to find someone and, get it all oriented. It doesn't have to be the same person on each day. It can be a different person, etc. Now, we've also had some people that couldn't find someone that were able to describe some things with us through it, to give us the idea that they do have a great enough understanding on it. But we highly recommend that you bring someone into those checkoff sessions to allow that we can ascertain that you literally do know. We want you to win at this. We want you to know that you know by the end of this weekend how to do this work. And it is amazing to me that we're able to bring it forward in a distance manner like this online around the world, something that I always wanted my father to be able to have an impact on much more of a global level. And Zoom has certainly made that possible for us. So let me tell you a little bit about the certification process also. The requirements to become certified is that you complete that technique checkoff with a teaching assistant that I've just been describing. And then you're going to take an online quiz, which is passable. It's very passable. You know, we created the quiz so that you could own this material. So don't freak out if you're a terrible test taker. I understand, not to worry. It's here. Everything that's on that quiz, I will be letting you know throughout the teaching, like this might be something good for you to know. Those kind of hints are happening all along the way. It is, we're truly, we want you to know the information, but we also want you to feel the confidence to step in, to have this happen. You also then, after you take the quiz, will be doing case studies on 5 people. You're going to take 5 people and you're going to treat them 3 times each time, so that you can track what's happening, and you're going to just log that in and give us a little report on what happened and how they responded and what you noticed and that kind of thing, just to give you some experience, so that we can help you lead with confidence once you are certified. You'll also be required to write a short essay on how you're going to use this work, what it means to you once you've learned it, and how all of that is happening and unfolding in your world, so that we can hold that intention for you and help you be successful in doing so. If you are certified and you qualify with some of the requirements that we have as well, we are happy to place you on our website, and we'll go over those requirements as we get into it. We're happy to place you on our website so that you can be part of our directory, so that when we're working with the many people around the world that we are working with, we have you as adding to our resources for people to be able to find that are looking for help. And there are lots of those people looking for help these days. Okay, so those are the details of the certification process itself. And I want to make sure that we have some time for some questions and some answers. So maybe I'll go into that now, and maybe some of the any additional details about the technique and how it works and what it's doing, I'm happy to go into, but I'd like to answer those as they are relevant to those of you that have specific questions. Okay, so let's open up the line, Mackenzie, and allow some folks to ask some questions if they have them. If you have never taken B.E.S.T and you would like to, or you took B.E.S.T and didn't get certified, maybe you have a question about that, etc. I also want to say that we have a live chat that will be available if you go over to drsuemorter.com/BEST, B-E-S-T -offer. drsuemorter.com/BEST-offer. You'll see that in the chat. Over there's a live chat available for you. If I'm answering questions and something else sparks and you have another question, or at the end of our call, if something sparks, you can go there, and they are standing by to also help answer your questions. Okay? So you can access that on the registration page, and that registration page is drsuemorter.com/BEST-offer. So if you already know that you want to register for this, feel free to go over there now and get that taken care of. Also, on that registration page, there is a video that shows you a sample B.E.S.T session. Okay, it shows you kind of the mechanics, the workings of how it looks and how it unfolds, and what it is that you would be actually doing with someone, just so that you can have a better understanding of that if you've never seen a B.E.S.T session. So it's bioenergetic synchronization technique. Okay, so we didn't mean to call it B.E.S.T. In fact, it was called bioenergetic synchronization technique when my father was developing it. It's not to infer that it's the best thing out there ever, although I kind of think it certainly ranks right up there. It was pointed out by a student in one of the first classes that my father was teaching in the 70s, in the early 70s, when he was putting together this work of magnetic energy, and how it was influencing the nervous system, and how the nervous system was responsible for healing messages traveling back and forth, and being in charge of what got to happen in the circulatory system and the immune system, etc. And as he was studying all these parts of the human system and these influences of electromagnetic energy that were just coming forward in the research, he started realizing that when he started utilizing some of these findings on his patients, that his patients were getting better faster and they were staying better longer. And I understand that because that's happened inside of the evolutionary layering that I've put on top of his work, which is something that I'll also tell you about. And that is all of the work that I do in Morter Institute and the energy codes and the Live Awake program and all of the meditation work that I deliver for people and the teachings of how to build your own circuitry for healing and so forth. I infuse that into the research that my father has done, and that is a follow-up course called Spiritual B.E.S.T. In fact, when you do sign up for it, if you wanted to purchase both of those because you know about this work and you want to learn all of that, there's a greater savings for you to do so. And you can certainly ask about that in the live chat on the registration page as well. Okay, so there is so very much here for you. If you are a practitioner looking to deepen your skills or you're wanting to become a practitioner, you have definitely landed in a place that is devoted to helping people help people. It is my life's work. It is what I've always been interested in, and I live it every single day of my life in every way that I can figure out to share with people ways that they can make a difference in their own lives and the lives of others. So I'm hoping that we've started to scratch the surface with answering some questions. We're going to open up the Q&A and see what questions you have to see if we might answer some specifics for you that would be even more helpful for you. Let's see, Mackenzie, what do we have here?
We have Carol. Go ahead. You may.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Sue. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Oh,
Truly
absolutely.
grateful. My question ties in with the scheduling. Do you have certain days of the week that you're planning to offer the classes at the time so that I can make sure there are no conflicts?
Yes, my apologies for not stating that right up front. It is, the dates are not in front of me here. Yes, they are December. We are specifically going to be teaching December 1st and 2nd and 3rd this year, December 1, 2, and 3. And as soon as you register, you will get we will be providing a schedule so that you can get busy finding someone to be there at the times where a checkoff is going to be required. Okay.
Perfect. And as far as the weekly classes, do you have days and times for the weekly classes?
Weekly classes, I'm not sure what you're referencing there.
I thought there was a certain day of the week at a certain time that you would be having either the live or the coaching. Am I?
Okay. The live training is December 1, 2, and 3. And you'll be working in your small group during those days, during certain moments of those days. We'll be breaking from the big room, going into your little room, getting the feedback, coming back in, learning some more, going back in, getting checked off on some of those things. And the whole 3 days will be that way. That's the format for that. Now, we also have we have a B.E.S.T forum, which is a support group that meets regularly monthly and allows you to ask questions and follow cases and learn in those sort of ways. Maybe you've heard about that and are thinking of that as well. So
yes. Is there a day of the week and time for those meetings?
There is a time that meets, but maybe somebody can put that in the chat for me. I don't know. I have so many things. Okay, so Deanne, maybe you can pop into the chat for me and I'll let them know that when the B.E.S.T forum is.
That's the follow-up, right? The support, the follow-up, the monthly follow-up.
There'll always be follow-up support. There's a community of B.E.S.T practitioners that have been taking this work for years, and you'll be in touch with a Facebook group with them that you can plug in and ask questions all the time, and they're helping each other and giving references on what they do and this kind of thing and this type of case and this type of situation. It's there 24/7 for you in that way as well. Okay.
Thank you.
It's not like a come in and, okay, good luck with that. Now, once you learn, we're here for you in an ongoing way, for sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Definitely. Okay. What else can we answer here today?
We have Nancy. Go ahead, Nancy.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Nancy. Hello, hello.
Yes. Having an interesting day after Gateway 3, so thank you. Yes.
Beautiful. My great pleasure. Yes.
Yes, yes.
It's a new
My
world after
question-
that.
Yeah, my question is, can this system work like on the level of miasm, inherited and or acquired, kind of
Absolutely.
really deep stuff?
Totally. Absolutely. It is working on a priority basis. And sometimes someone's priority is something that's going on in their life right now. And sometimes that priority that's going on in their life right now actually has a history, an energetic history, a genetic history, you name it. And there are categories inside the technique that will prioritize if that's if that is really at the root of what we're talking about. So a client might be trying to focus on a particular symptom that they have, and their body is going to tell you what the cause of that symptom is. And that cause might be chemical, it might be emotional, it might be a thought process, it might be something historical that can go back from the beginning. So whether it is some early stage in their life, whether it's a genetic, familial, lineage type of issue, all of these types of issues are allotted for inside the curriculum of what we're looking for when we're going in after the cause instead of treating the symptom. Okay.
And what about training for the remote application as a practitioner, where I assume that's not part of the initial 3 days, or how does this work together?
Right. So there's so much content in those 3 days. We want you to get that down. Now, interestingly enough, I'm teaching a remote healing course before this one in December, teaching you how to work with energetic healing from a remote level before I'm even teaching this one. So you actually could plug into that. And maybe Deanne or someone can put the dates of that in the chat for me, and then I'll read it. Okay, let me go back. I just saw this.
I think it was the 17th, 18th, 19th, somewhere around in there.
Yes, like that, in November. Yes.
Right.
So if you already know that you're going to want to work with things remotely, this would be a fabulous way for you to learn the remote technique, which is how to work with energies non-locally with someone specific that is not in the room with you. And then by the time you come in and learn B.E.S.T, you could put those together and work with it very easily upon the end of the December certification program. So that's one way to go about it. Now, I'll also offer a remote B.E.S.T program for people who have learned B.E.S.T to learn remotely how to apply it. If you can't get into the remote course before you take B.E.S.T in December, if you guys can't attend the November remote healing class, there'll be another opportunity for B.E.S.T practitioners to learn the remote components of B.E.S.T after December. I don't know when that will be, but it would probably be within the first quarter of next year. We can make that available. Okay, so
there are ways to determine whether one leg is shorter than the other, etc.
Yes, absolutely.
Remotely.
Yes, absolutely. I've been doing that for ever since I could pick up the legs.
Yeah, I have done plenty of remote surrogate testing in the realm of muscle testing and dowsing and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yes. So even if you aren't using a surrogate, you can work with the energy in a way that you'll be able to tell what's happening with leg lengths and muscle strengths, etc. It is phenomenal. But you know what quantum science is showing us is that there's no such thing as distance, really. It's just how we hold it in our consciousness. And so if we, through the power of, similar to the power of intention, but we're not sending our energy over there to heal them. We're literally bringing them right here in our consciousness and working with them. It's a fascinating approach to remote healing.
It is fascinating. Yes.
Super powerful. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Excellent. Yes. Thank you for your questions. They're great. Okay, you guys, let's take another one. I also wanted to say that Deanne, who is our assistant with all things B.E.S.T, all things bioenergetic healing, B.E.S.T and spiritual B.E.S.T and remote healing. Deanne is our teaching assistant and coordinator of all of those programs. So you'll hear me talking to her all the time. She's in the background right now. She has posted for us that the B.E.S.T forum is the third Thursday of each month. At 8:30. That's the live connection call every month that would be available for you. Let's put the link for Sharon. I see you're asking a link for the remote healing class. We'll put a link for the remote healing class in the chat this evening as well. If you guys already know that you're going to want to do both, we need to make those both available for you. I don't know if that is on the order form for your registration page tonight, but we can certainly, do two separate things there and get you hooked up with both of those, you guys. So, okay, let's take another question.
Lila, go ahead and you can unmute.
Hello, Dr.
Lila.
Sue.
Hello. What a precious
Hi.
photo. Hello,
Oh,
Heather. Okay,
thank
how
you.
can I support you?
So, in order to certify, do we have to practice in person on someone, or can we just do it remotely to get the certification?
To get the certification, you have to be checked off. You have to be observed by one of our teaching assistants, and they have to check for your ability to do this with understanding.
Okay.
And the best way for them to do that is if you're working with another person in those 3 days. Now, they have worked with people under dire conditions where they just couldn't find anybody. And so then the person has to walk them through with great detail what you would be doing if you had a person in front of you. Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be easier for you to learn if you have somebody there. It'll be easier for you to learn if you have a real person that you can respond. You can watch how they're responding and you can think through what's going on. It becomes more of an exercise of your application of what you're learning than if you don't have someone there. Okay.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much.
You bet. Excellent. So let's take another.
Amy, go ahead. You have the mic.
Hi, Dr. Sue.
Hello.
Thank you for your work. I'm just kind of new to this, having just discovered in August, like the wealth of all of the knowledge that your whole program has to offer. So I'm not really new to energy work, but I'm just trying to understand what this technique really is. In its hands-on. Are you holding body points? Are you making minor adjustments? Or
Okay, yeah, let me just describe a little bit more detail. Okay, so we have a client laying there. I'm describing the hands-on in the in-person version of this, which is classic and traditionally how this was done. And you're doing muscle testing to evaluate a pattern that the body is demonstrating. And we've learned that certain patterns, like if the leg is short when you're testing for something in particular, or the arm is weak on one side of the body versus the other side of the body, there are all these different types of patterns of things that can show up. And we've learned that this pattern goes with this type of emotional upset that was never resolved, or this type of thought process that was overwhelming to an individual, or this type of physical injury that occurred that never really got resolved, and we're looking for the cause. And so we have this whole flow chart that tells us how to discern what the cause is. Then we share that with the person, and you don't even have to. Like I said, they could speak a different language, but then you are also trained on what to do about what you find. So then you hold contact points around the head or around the body based upon the type of pattern that you discovered is needed to bring synchronization or flow back into the energetic system. And so we're working with a universal pulse that is supposed to pulse in the whole body in a synchronized fashion. And we feel for that pulsation. it is not the cardiovascular pulse, nor is it the Vedic pulses of the doshas that we are taught about in Eastern Ayurvedic type of testing, but it is the universal pulse that all those pulses come from. And so we're teaching people how to find that and to feel that and to work with feeling it in the body. For instance, you'll be told where to hold two different contact points and with which polarity, a north or a south energy, to hold them with. And when you first contact around the head, maybe it's here and maybe it's here, maybe it's here and here, maybe it's here and here, or maybe it's something on the head and something on the neck or something on the head and something on the body, that when you first take a hold of those contact points, you may feel in one hand a really strong pulse and you may feel nothing in the other hand. And that's because a lot of energy is in one area and that energy isn't cycling to another area of the body in an equal and synchronized fashion. And so we're taught then what to do to get them to synchronize. And we hold for those pulses until they both come in a strong manner and in a synchronized rate and rhythm and level of intensity. And so we know then that that communication in the body has been established in a more harmonious way. The synchronized version versus the segmented version I was speaking about earlier is now setting in, and the energy starts to move. The client may feel a rush of energy. They may feel heat. They may feel tingling in their body. They may feel emotion, release as this energy starts moving again. All of that, you are trained on what to do and what to say and how to handle all that and how to then move to removing the next layer. So we have a way of monitoring at the beginning, like in a before and after sort of way, the differences that we're making with a person, so that we can challenge to make sure that what's happening with them on a conscious level and a subconscious level is being revealed in the body, that connection, the trap door has opened and they have absorbed the new instruction. They are responding to what we have initiated. And as a byproduct of that, we will then see weak muscles that tested weak at the beginning, they will be strong. Areas that were in spasm or too tight will loosen in a symmetrical sort of way. Aspects of the body that a person was feeling pain or what have you will release. All sorts of symptoms will unfold as well, sometimes immediately, sometimes after they sleep that night. And then we work with them, a few times to establish a familiarity and to establish a sustainability of the patterning, but all the while recognizing that what we're doing is getting the body working the way that it was originally intended to be working. And it's been spending extra energy working in a disrupted sort of way, in a compromised sort of way. And so it wants to migrate toward what we're establishing. And so nature's on our side for it to keep doing what we've set in motion. And as a byproduct of that, nature helps us, get to this sustainable, lasting state pretty rapidly. Lots of times I've had many responses just by working with someone 1 or 2 or 3 times. Sometimes we work with someone only 1 time and they have a relief to the point that they're just completely blown away and they come back in to work on other types of issues. And as I mentioned earlier, those issues can be physical, they can be mental, they can be emotional, they can be relational, they can be conceptual, they can be about one's own relationship to self. There are any application, because it's all about the one system that's experiencing all of those things and should be delivering a regularity to all of those layers of self. So we may think we're working on something physical, but the emotional and the spiritual components of the person start lining up because every part of us is affected when any part of us is affected. So hopefully that's helpful a little bit in trying to imagine how it unfolds. Let me stop and see if you have any other questions about that.
No, I don't think I do. It really sounds like it fits in really well with what I'm already doing, and that would be a good complement to my other energy work practices. So
Oh, beautiful. It comes out of chiropractic. My father was a chiropractor and was moving bones to take pressure off of nerves, to alleviate symptoms and get the body flowing more appropriately from a nervous system standpoint. And he noticed that oftentimes his patients would come back and need the same vertebra adjusted back into the same position, repeatedly. And he's like, if this is what I'm doing, am I really getting at the cause? I mean, it's better than the person taking a painkiller, but still, even though this is what we're doing to alleviate the pain and discomfort, and restore a greater healing capacity, are we really getting at the cause? Which is what led him into studying what runs the physical body, because those bones being out of place was due to muscles pulling on both sides of that vertebra of the spine, one side pulling harder than the other, which would pull the bone out of place. So the chiropractor would put the bone back in place, but if he didn't do anything about that imbalance in the muscle contraction, it's going to just go to work to put it right back where it thought it had to be. And it thought it should be that way if that person was stressed from something at work, and then maybe they didn't get in a car accident, but they came home and they were lifting something up in an asymmetrical fashion. Muscles on one side of the body are appropriately contracting more than muscles on the other side in that moment. If he had had a stressful day and he did this, and his 2-year-old screamed at the same time he was picking something up, boom, it's too much. It overwhelms the system, and that trap door slams shut. So now that person stands up straight, but it's not the same in there. It's still, locked in that pattern. So over time, those muscles on the right side are going to pull that bone back out of place. The chiropractor would put it back in, it would pull it right back out. The chiropractor would put it back in, it would pull it right back out, because the subconscious thought it was supposed to be in the state that it was in as the trapdoor slammed shut. So it's trying to do this thing that it thinks it's supposed to be doing. And this is the reason that people don't heal. It's because the body thinks it's doing the right thing, but it's not. It's just not updated to present need. It's responding out of something that happened and it's responding to the storage of that in memory instead of responding to what's really going on today. So we're bringing people up to date in that way. So hopefully that's helpful.
Makes so much sense. Thank you.
Okay, you bet. You bet. My pleasure. Hope to see you there. Okay, let's take another.
We do have a couple of questions in the chat that I will read aloud. Someone is asking, I definitely want to take the B.E.S.T, but should I bother with Reiki along with B.E.S.T? How do they relate, Reiki and B.E.S.T?
Okay, so Reiki is a beautiful, beautiful work. What we're doing is we're bringing consciousness into the picture. We are working with the electromagnetic energy system and the nervous system simultaneously. We're working with a conscious engagement with the patient and the client, because we know that what the patient and client is doing in their own mind and how they process information and how they're perceiving self and the world has everything to do with this trap door slamming shut, etc. So when the trap door is slammed shut, it creates the patterns that acupuncture and Reiki and these types of modalities are utilizing beautifully to bring harmony back into the body. What we're interested in is, why did it slam shut in the first place? What was causal, really causal? We're really interested in the first domino that fell in that way. So, so hopefully that's helpful to answer that one.
Thank you. And then someone else is asking, how is the spiritual different? What is added and how much longer does it take than the B.E.S.T?
Okay, so the spiritual B.E.S.T, you can do B.E.S.T without ever taking spiritual B.E.S.T and be an amazing practitioner for forever. All right, so for many, many years, that was all that existed until I came along and added to my dad's work. So there were lots and lots of doctors doing just what you're going to learn this weekend forever, and some that still are that I've never even met. But people who were studying with me in terms of consciousness and meditation and learning how to manage ourselves and awaken ourselves to higher and higher states of consciousness, I wanted them to be able to apply what they were learning inside the same type of work and help others with that too, because there's additional information that we can access that way. It's a developmental piece that aids us helping people in additional ways. The spiritual B.E.S.T is is taught similarly to how B.E.S.T is. It's on a weekend. I teach you the mechanics of what you have to do and why you're doing it. And then over time, you learn, more and more about that in the forums and inside of a mentorship program that I have. If someone's really wanting to plug in and become a rich, deep practitioner in deep study with all that, I love to go there with people. So there's an availability for people to study deeply with me if you take Spiritual B.E.S.T, because of all of the components that are available there. So I don't want to intimidate people like, oh my gosh, I have to take all that. You don't. You take B.E.S.T weekend, you're good to go. And I also want to allow people who are wanting to really study deeply the concepts of the East and the concepts of quantum science and how it comes together inside of this approach and this modality. I want you to know there is a living library of content here for you in that way. So you probably would never run out of what to learn when it comes to the things that are available to you through B.E.S.T and Spiritual B.E.S.T combined. But it isn't, Spiritual B.E.S.T is presented on a weekend just like this, and it will be presented maybe 6 months or so later, 6 or 8 months. I can't remember exactly when that one's on the schedule, but we can certainly make that information available for you too. Okay, hopefully that's helpful.
Thank you. I'll take some hands. I see Jillian. Go ahead.
While we're asking Jillian's coming forward to ask her question, I'm seeing, Alexandra, that you have asked a question about, can I use B.E.S.T to self-heal? Absolutely. These applications are fantastic for you. We will teach you how to do that for yourself during the weekend. So I just happened to glance over there. If
Hi,
you're,
Dr. Sue.
yes, hello.
Hi, it's Gillian in San Diego. I've taken a couple of your courses. I did the year of miracles in 2020. Anyway, this is Dr. Sue. This is just bringing together so many different elements. I went to massage school many years ago. I then became a Reiki master, and in the last 5 years, I've become an advanced pranic healer. So I'm already doing some remote work with folks. I have one particular client, and I just feel like this is exactly what he needs. Because his is more a presentation of an emotional pattern, and he's aware of the emotional pattern. And despite the energy work I've done for him and helping him with his diet and nutrition, he's still stuck. And I really would love to move more forward with this, because it's bringing so many different pieces together. Do you feel as though the in-person is more effective than remote with clients?
I thought that in the beginning, and then when COVID happened and we had so many people working with people remotely because we couldn't be in the same room, people started reporting to me that because of what they learned through the remote class and application of this, that the potency was phenomenal. In fact, what I've recently gotten from the research of, just feedback from our practitioners is that even when they're in person, they're utilizing a lot of the remote qualities that they were taught, that they're working with the energy the same way even when they're in the room with people, because of the potency that the remote concepts bring forward. So at some point it would be ideal if someone took the remote application course, whether they took it before B.E.S.T in December or they take it after B.E.S.T in December. At some point, I would recommend that someone have access to both applications. They are potent in their own way in both applications. So I hope that's helpful. It's not really a yes or no, but I've just heard really great things from both perspectives. And I would have thought that, hands-on in person is going to be more potent, but the practitioners do report that they're getting faster results with people once they learn how to manage the energies with their own consciousness, as if the person wasn't in the room, but they are in the room. So they're kind of like coming at them from both perspectives.
Yeah, I think when I did Living in the Energy of Love with you, I think that was covered a little bit in there.
Yes.
working
Yes.
remotely with people.
Yes, we
energy.
started that. Now in the remote healing course that's coming up in November, it's much more detailed than what we were able to in the Energy of Love course, but you're definitely on track there for sure.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, I can't tell you for the last 5 years of working with you how incredible of an impact you've had in my life. So thank you so much for all that you do.
So thrilled to hear
I
that.
hope to get to go to France with you sometime.
Oh, well, we were just talking today about, okay, when are we going back? Because everybody's asking about it. It was a phenomenal trip. So I hope to see you there too sometime.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right, let's answer some additional questions here as quickly as we can. Who else?
I see Joe. Go ahead. Go a little out of order.
Oops, Joe, I can't hear you.
You will have to hit the unmute button.
There's in the lower left-hand corner, maybe.
How about now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
Excellent.
great. Have you ever had occasion to train a blind person to be a practitioner?
I'm sorry, trained a blind person?
To be a practitioner.
Have we trained a blind person to be a practitioner? No. Am certainly open to doing so, though.
Yeah, I'm wondering about how effective it would be on Zoom. And also the other question about the written materials, are they in good accessible digital format? Those would be my two big questions.
Okay, so I would like for you to go over to the chat and make sure that they know how I can be in touch with you, and we're going to figure something out.
Oh, okay, that'd be awesome. I need the chat address again.
Okay, so it is Dr. Sue Morter,
Right.
DrSueMorter.com/BEST, BEST -offer.
Awesome. I can do that.
Okay.
Appreciate the answer.
All right, Joe. Thank you. I look
Thank you.
forward to exploring some grand adventure together. Okay.
Likewise. Be
Awesome.
great.
Yeah.
Bye, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Vicky, go ahead.
Hello.
Oh, go ahead.
There you are.
Okay. Okay.
Gotcha.
Hi.
Gotcha. Yes. Hello.
About 23 years ago, I went into a coma for 4 months, and they said I would never come out of it. And I woke up and started my life over, and from diapers and everything. But my biggest challenge today, I don't remember most anything, and I see a neurologist frequently. And I am wondering if, Dr. Sue, if you've worked with people in have neurological disorders.
Yes, you mean as a client, as a
Client, yes.
receive these kinds of treatments.
Yes.
Yes. We've had lots and lots of experience with all sorts of things from stroke and from coma and from significant physical incidents, accidents that people would refer to as accidents, and the work has been very beneficial in these types of scenarios. So I think did you put something in the chat about the neurological piece?
I just said my issue is neurological.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what is in terms of your ability to respond as a patient or client to the work, definitely. What I would do is go over to the registration, the live chat there, and they will hook you up with being able to speak with one of our practitioners in a little bit more detail regarding your condition. I think we have Dr. Lori Mandikek with us this evening. If she is maybe, yes, I see her right there. Okay, excellent. Dr. Lori, is it okay if I connect you there to have a conversation sometime in the next week or so? Okay. How about me volunteering you all the time? I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Okay. So, so Vicky, what I would suggest is we're going to connect you with Dr. Lori, and you can just have some conversations there about getting some remote work, or depending on where you live, we'll find a practitioner near you as well. Are you interested in taking the training, or you were just kind of here to check in about could it help these kinds of things, or maybe yes to all of that or whatever?
All of that, Dr. Sue.
Okay.
Prior to the coma, I had a very spiritual life and started in my 20s. I was kind of a nutball in my 20s, but
Okay. Well, you
back
know,
then it was different than it is today. But my memory is very screwed up.
no, well, for now.
Yeah,
Okay, let's see
yeah,
about that.
okay.
All right. We've seen lots
Okay,
and lots of results on things like
okay,
this. So let's just take one step at a time, my dear, and see how we can
okay,
support you. All right.
okay,
Excellent.
thanks.
Yeah. Okay. I think we have a couple more here. We're trying to get to everybody that we can. We have a bit of a limited time coming up. I got my eye on the clock. I know Mackenzie has to have a hard stop here pretty soon. So I got you, my dear. She's got to go over and do another broadcast for us. So, all right, let's, I see three more hands. Let's try to get to or two more hands up. Let me see if I can get to both of you guys easily. Okay, what can I do? How can I help?
Dr. Sue, I had a great time this weekend at Live Awake Gateway 3. Thank you very much.
Yes, my joy. Wow, it was fantastic. I wish everybody that I knew could have been in that room. Everybody I don't know, I wish they could have been in that room. So
I think one of the best weekends I've ever had in my life. So.
Me too. It was fantastic. I'm glad it felt that way to you. It was really, really wonderful to just put it all together that way. So, you know, what happens is when I start putting it together, those things in that way, it's going to infuse into our BEST program too. It just, you know, I can't help it. It just comes out and it gets tucked into what we're learning. So, so it's going to be a great one. All right. How can I support you?
So here's my question. So I've been a Reiki master for 25 years. And I have to say, I really grew into that over years. I mean, you can learn it in a weekend, but I mean, it took years for me to just really deepen into it. And so I don't want to go into this BEST weekend training naively thinking, okay, well, after one weekend, it sounds very complicated and deep. And I guess I'm having some trepidation can I really do anything with this for you? You know, will it take years to really understand it?
Okay. So here's what I know, Trisha. Because of everything you've been through, you know, there's no such thing as complicated. It's not complicated. You know, as a Reiki master, you know that there's a greater simplicity to life than what meets the eye. And that's exactly where we're working. I describe all these things that it's doing, but it doesn't mean it's hard to do. It doesn't mean it's hard to do it. I'm describing all these facets that are addressed by doing this work. And you got this flow chart and you do these things and it doesn't mean that it's complex to do. It's simple to do. You just follow along this like instruction manual. It's like do. So, and yes, it takes experience and time to develop all the nuances and to really like see it before you even read the body. You can feel what's going on with the person as soon as you connect with them, as soon as you walk in the room with them or you connect with them remotely. That develops with experience. But you're also going to be surrounded by people who have decades of experience with this. And you literally line up and you learn it faster because you're surrounded by people who get it. You're surrounded by people that make it simple. And my name of the game, claim to fame, if I were famous, it would be, I love to take complex things and make them simple. I love it to be user-friendly. It's my favorite thing to do on the planet. I do it with quantum science and bioenergetics and psychospirituality and the evolution of humanity and where we've come from and our point of origin. I love to work with all that and make it like dinner table conversation, okay? Don't you dare freak out on you, okay? We have a way of doing this that will be fun and joyous for you to do.
Will I always have these lists and I'm checking things off, or is it after a while, can you just put all the paper aside and just be with it?
You'll get it down and it'll be like bump, 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 bump. Got it. Yeah. You don't have to have a little manual with you going through it. You might the first day, you might the first week, but no, the end game is you got this. Okay.
All right. Thank
Beautiful.
you.
I'd love to have you there. It
Thank you.
feels right up your alley. Okay.
It feels good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Wonderful. Okay. My pleasure. All right. Who else do we have?
Right. And then Carol, you are our last hand.
Okay. Hey, Carol.
Thank you. Thank you. Speaking of complex to simple, I have this vision of using what you have to share with me, this coaching program for individual people that I've learned Lomi Lomi and healing touch. So in that capacity, but also in the okay, there's the micro and then the macro. I also visualize dovetailing this information in the organizational leadership, which is team building and leadership training. I look at groups as organisms. That's kind of how I see a lot of what how I visualize what I do. Have you worked with people like me who visualize groups that way?
Totally. Absolutely.
They've used this type of I'm in the right place. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I would highly recommend that that you take the remote and B.E.S.T, because that's what you're going to be utilizing to work with the group.
And that's why I wrote in the chat, but I didn't get, do you have a date yet of the November remote class yet?
Yes, I think it's 17, 18, and 19, if I recall. I just made an announcement on that a minute and a half ago when I
missed that. I'm sorry. I missed that.
No, not a minute and a half ago today. I made an announcement like yesterday at some other course. They don't have the dates right here. Deanne is also telling me that there's a discounted bundle price for the remote healing and B.E.S.T. Okay, so if you guys are going to take them together, it's less expensive. You save some money if you take them together. So that's over on the registration page. You can find that. I think it's 17, 18, 19, the dates on that.
And around the same times of the day. Perfect.
17, 18, 19. 17, 18, 19, it's going to be all day, 17, 18, 19. Okay, most of the day.
Similar times as the one that you're the other one that we're
okay. Pretty much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Got it. Yes, absolutely. I'm thrilled. I look forward to it. Oh my gosh, you guys. Once you're asking questions, I hope we get to play together, because you're fabulous folks, and I would love to get to work with you a little bit more deeply. And for those of you that didn't ask any questions, I so appreciate your interest in, as I said in our opening moments, your interest in humanity. It's my greatest joy to allow life to be a little bit more helpful, a little bit more holistic, and a little bit more grace-filled in our life experiences. And so everything that I can do always, I have a beautiful village. We call them, our team is the village. We make the joke that it takes a village to live, to live into all this work. And we affectionately call our team the village people. And for you to come into this body of work, I assure you, you're going to be well taken care of. And it's just a beautiful thing to be sharing and to be living into every day. So I appreciate you being here and being a part of that and being a part of our community. And I do hope that we get to connect in the remote and into the B.E.S.T and into spiritual B.E.S.T at some point, so that we really are covering all the bases that are there to be covered for our humanity. So again, to register, go over to drsuemorter.com/BEST-offer. There's a live chat there for you, and you can access it all on this registration page here. There's also, again, a video sample of what a session looks like on the registration page, just so you can kind of get a glimpse of what you're getting into. Okay, so again, it's December 1, 2, and 3. What a great way to start off the holidays, the holy days, as I call them, with a new understanding about how to truly serve humanity. So it's roughly 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern into early evening hours 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock. We stay open later one evening on Saturday just to give you lots and lots of opportunity to have the practice and the feedback and to get checked off as you would like to do. And let me see if there's anything else that the village is telling me we need to cover before we go. If you're listening to this remotely, is the pricing valid? Oh, it's valid. This is available to you to get that. I don't know what that means that you're listening to it remotely. But the pricing is appropriate that I'm referencing here is good for today, and it is also good until our registration closes on the remote course. We would have to do that because the remote course will be starting. Okay, so you know what helps us is if you know that you're going to do this, that you know, and you just register, because it gives us time to get the proper amount of teaching assistance available for you so that we can serve you abundantly on December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Okay, so it serves your system well to just say, I'm in, you know, rather than to hem and haw and all the energies that we lose because we debate and we don't sleep well and all that kind of stuff. So you can go to sleep really feeling great tonight because you know, you're on it with us. Okay, so I'm going to have to sign off because we have another broadcast we have to go and do. It's been a joy to be with you guys here this day, and I so look forward to connecting in and having a long-lasting relationship with my practitioners. All right, I'd be honored to serve you. So thank you again for being here, and we will see you soon. Blessings, everyone. Namaste.